Mike said it earlier. He makes his guys pay the dues to get there. They qualify. They understand what it takes to be in there, that it's a privilege. The fight is the easy part. It's the training and getting there that's the hard part. And you're the kind of guy that's gone to other schools and helped people.
I mean, I drive like 45 minutes to go to hit squad. Obviously, I can't make that every day. I have 3 kids. I have a regular job, and I was coaching soccer too on top of it, you know, during the fall. So I mean, you're looking at a full-time job, part-time job, and then being a father. So obviously, I couldn't get across the river 45 minutes. I live in Lake St. Louis, so it's 45-minute drive to hit squad. So yeah, I did. I paid gym fees at 3 different schools to train, so I couldn't make it. I definitely spent a lot of money to lose that title fight. But no, I mean, I do what I can. Like Matt said, you just gotta do what you can. You gotta find the time.
Do you have any fights scheduled?
I think I'm fighting May 2nd. I gotta talk to Steve. Yeah, I think I'm on that card. I don't know. Yeah, for sure. I think he said he asked me if I wanted to be. I said yes. I picked up a slight injury, and we're going to wait and see. I might have to go back to the doctor on that. It might be worse than I initially thought. So, unfortunately, it might push that May 2nd back.
Well, do the right thing. We know you will.
Yeah. So, but I want to also say that I saw it was Elvin. I saw you guys before. I saw them before the fight. I'm going to say something about the CMA guys. They were really. They came up to me, and we saw each other before the fight, and they wished me luck, and it wasn't like when they walked away, going, yeah, you're going to get bucked. They were really, they were sincere. They were like, hey, good luck, it's going to be a good fight, we're looking forward to it, and stuff like that, and I do appreciate that. It was classy, and like I said, they definitely were sincere about it.
Maybe they don't like James.
Maybe they don't. If he needs them, they probably don't. I also want to comment on Matt's fight. He kind of reminds me of James, kind of quiet guy, doesn't really talk. That seriously was
down over their way, Matt.
Yeah, that seriously was one of the best amateur MMA fights I've ever seen. I was down at Rolla. The reason I went down there is because I found out who was on some of the guys on the card and stuff like that. I don't think I've ever seen Matt fight before. I've seen Josh Sample fight before, and I know he's a great fighter, and I wanted to see him again. And then a couple Matt Helms and a couple guys from Dustin Seaver's team were fighting and stuff, so I wanted to go down there. But I tell you what, the drive, the wait for the last 2 or 3 fights was definitely worth it. So to see Josh and Matt fight was really nice. And I won $20 on Josh Sample. So I bought some Arkansas guys bet me. So I felt bad because I knew Josh before and I knew he was gonna win, but it's like stealing money, but I took it. So
let's give a shout out to the guy who throws those, or the people who throw those fights out in Raleigh. That's Cage Championships.
Yeah, Patrick and Jason Cooper, they run it. Patrick, I don't know his last name, offhand,
okay,
but he runs the show. Patrick Smith. He's in charge of it. Jason Cooper's the matchmaker, and he did a good job. I mean, for us it was really good.
Jason's one of our main advisors here,
right?
On Ground and Pound.
They work.
I appreciate him.
I'm sorry, they work under Combat Sports Commission, I think, and they do a good job from everything I've heard. And I've been out to a couple Patrick shows before, but not the other guys. It's good.
Yeah, they do a great job, and they were good fights.
So in the future, we'll be announcing, future Cage Championship fights that Patrick and Jason are putting out there, because everything I've heard about their fights is first class. So look forward to that. Hey, well, I want to touch on a subject, if we can, just for a few minutes here, since it got brought up, and that is the advantage of wrestlers in the MMA world. We'll start with you, Samir, because you do not have a wrestling background.
Yeah.
You bring a lot of power and a lot of strength, but do you notice when you go against somebody who, like Sal, who has a wrestling background, what a difference that makes?
It definitely makes a difference, again, like Mike said here, people that from wrestling that can do jiu-jitsu, I think they do real good, because it is kind of the same thing, I don't have any wrestling background, but, I've been doing jiu-jitsu, studying with different people, and I've been doing it for 2 or 3 years, so, I mean, I don't know, really, I think it helps, but again, it's really up to you how much time you put into it.
Well, Mike, I look at jiu-jitsu and wrestling as being almost polar opposites. Even though they're very similar in a lot of ways, jiu-jitsu is always slowing things down, it seems. I guess you're moving fast and you're moving in for what you're going to do. Wrestling, to me, is explosive. And that's kind of what wrestlers, what I notice when somebody's got a wrestling background and they come into MMA, they are explosive. I mean, they bring power, they bring snap, and that alone is hard for a lot of people just to get through, no matter what their skill level is. And then if you see a good jiu-jitsu guy against a good wrestler, you'll usually see that jiu-jitsu guy slow the wrestler down. Let him wear him, get his stuff out, and then finish the fight. Mike, would you comment on that?
Never really thought about it like that, but I guess when I think about it, it's all about angles, and the wrestler has good angles, and the jiu-jitsu player has good angles, and the boxing guy gets the good angles, and if you get the right angles, you're going to win. Jiu-jitsu, I think jiu-jitsu, like if you can only know one thing, I don't know if I'm answering your question here, if you can only know one thing, I think it was proven in the first UFCs, if you watched all the first UFCs, that jiu-jitsu is what you need to know. But now that everything is intertwined and together, the wrestlers have a great base. Everybody knows jiu-jitsu, so a wrestler kind of can control things. If he's a really good wrestler, he can control whether if he does jiu-jitsu or if he does stand-up. And another misconception is that you have to have done wrestling in high school or wrestling in college to be a good wrestler in MMA. Matt never wrestled, never once wrestled, and never did anything really about like this before he got into MMA. But he's a very good wrestler now. You don't have to have that. And it's an advantage to go to wrestle in high school and college, but you don't have to.
No, bottom line, it comes down to the individual and what they bring. We have a fighter out of CMMA, Carlitos Jones, who's a bicycler, world-class cyclist. And, boy, was he green when he started. But the power, the wind that he brings, and his ability to learn. He's up there with any of the jiu-jitsu guys and the wrestlers, really.
Well, it's the same thing, though, where Mike said, you're a jiu-jitsu school, but you do everything else, too. And where Matt has just talked about, you would be jiu-jitsu based, I guess you'd consider yourself, but then you're picking up wrestling from the wrestling guys there. You're doing the boxing, you're doing the Thai. So in order to be number one, evidently you need to be well-rounded. It seems like to me on the pro level, what I see is a lot of strikings coming back. That for a little while people weren't, and maybe that's because I look for striking because that's what I came from, but a lot of people look like they're afraid to kick for a little while because the wrestlers and jiu-jitsu guys were taking them down and beating them up or turning them into pretzels, and now they're kind of coming back to where everyone's cross-training. The guys that were just one discipline can do more, like you're talking about doing now too, and it seems like it just gives them more options. So that's why I think I'm seeing more striking. Maybe I'm wrong, but it does seem like there's a lot more striking in the pro level now.
The reason, like I said before, that my son, said he wanted to be a fighter and stuff. The reason why I wanted his base to be wrestling, because I think wrestling is the transition. If you can win the wrestling part of it, you can dictate the fight, and you can put the fight where you want it. If you want it on the ground, you have the skill level that you can take them down. If you don't want to, then you don't have to take them down. But that's always an option that you have, and I think that is the transition from standing to the ground. So that's why I wanted him to have the wrestling, so that way, because his hands stink right now. Obviously, he's 15; they're going to get better. But if he wants to take them to the ground, then he can. He has that opportunity. I think if you look at the UFC, like Mike's point was, you don't have to have this pedigree of being a great wrestler to become a good wrestler. Look at GSP. He might be the best UFC wrestler right now, and I don't know his background, but I don't think he has a big pedigree of great wrestling awards he's won or anything. I don't know if he even wrestled before he started MMA or what his background is on that, but he's by far probably the best wrestler in the UFC.
We absolutely take on the philosophy of your trainer. I mean, the young lady that called in before, her trainer doesn't like MMA, and so she's not even watching much of it, and they scoff at it. I know I suck at basketball, so I don't watch much basketball. You know what I mean? So, but I'm smart enough to know, I've always told the guys that I've trained a little bit that I can show you a little bit of judo, I can show you a little bit of jiu-jitsu, but I'm a stand-up guy. And I'll teach you stand-up, but when you're ready to go to a jiu-jitsu guy or you want to do MMA, you need a better trainer than me for that. And so Mike and Steve Knogle and some of the other better trainers are smart enough to know that, they're not just saying this is everything and that's it. And we have the very best thing and you don't need to learn anything else. They're smart enough to cross-train guys and